Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Start doing the analysis, and everyone, whatever doubts you guys are having, please do ask. Good morning, Usma. Good morning, Varan. How is your analysis going on, Usma? अगर लॉन्ग की तरफ देखना है तो ये जो गैप अप आज के दिन में ओपन हुआ है ना, ये गैप अप का पूरा लिक्विडिटी लेने दो। वो पूरा लिक्विडिटी आके 3425 है। ओके, उसके साथ S2P1 या S2B2 सेटअप क्रिएट होती है या POI रेंज बिल्ड होती है, उसके ऑपोजिट डायरेक्शंस में ट्रेड एग्जीक्यूट करें। नहीं नहीं, करंट ट्रेड इज गोइंग ऑन टुवर्ड शॉर्ट। यस यस। So doing live analysis, good. So this month took 2 SLs after 4 months. अच्छा है। 3444 एंट्री, गुड एंट्री। 100 पिप्स चल रहा है ऑलमोस्ट। या जब तक S2B1 सेटअप क्रिएट नहीं होता है तब तक शॉर्ट में। Good morning, Naveen. रीस्ट्रक्चर बिल्ड होने दो तब मजा आए। ये तो करेंटली गैप अब जो ओपन हुआ है ना उसका अलोकेशन लेने आया है उतना ही। रीबिल्ड स्ट्रक्चर में जाएंगे ना, अच्छा खासा 200 टू 400 पिप्स के बीच में टारगेट्स मिल। हाउ इज योर एनालिसिस गोइंग ऑन, नवीन? 90 pips running. Sir, recently I bought your book. Okay. 'Sir, does the wick play the important role in the markets? Yes, it does. Asian session, it plays a 70% important role. London and New York, 90 plus. That's the indication of the pressures, right? किस तरफ मार्केट कैसे मूव होगा, with a what kind of formulation में build out होगा. Rehabilitate करके चलो, you will be able to identify the wicks easily. Sure, good but difficult to execute the trades. Naveen, did you complete with 6 months of back testing, 6 months of forward relay bar testing, 1 month of live analysis? Because with all this thing only you will be able to execute the trades in the direction, right? It doesn't mean that you bought the book and you're just looking for an execution through the book. You won't be able to do it because once you do the back testing, then the forward relay bar testing, then the live analysis, that's where you will be able to identify where exactly you want to enter and how. Yeah, so do that, then you will definitely be able to identify it. I have some doubts like a beginner. I am watching your videos of your finding right supply. Please do ask. Doubt है तो पूछो, problem नहीं है. But to be executing the trades in the right direction, 6 months of forward testing, 6 months of relay bar testing, 1 month of live analysis. Post that only you will be able to execute the trades fearlessly. M1, M2 concept not getting. It's not a concept. It's one of the ways of looking into the direction कहाँ तक hold करना है. Can you explain a bit on should we trade on candle close or wait to reach the certain price point? See, just for an example, नवीन एंड उस्मा दोनों को भी ये है. Where do you look for an execution? Just for an example, if a market is moving in a direction, right, and immediately there is a fall through, what will you do? Hope you have executed the trade with S2B1 setup over here, right, on the third candle. But always remember, what is Asian session? 20 pips. What is London and New York session? 40 pips. That is the SL range what you will be following. With that, you always have to remember क्या जहाँ पे एंट्री हुआ है उसका एसएल रेंज के नीचे आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है. अगर उसका एसएल रेंज के नीचे नहीं आ रहा है, always remember to look for an add-on position with the same setup again. राइट यहाँ पे फिर से एस टू बी वन होता है तो यू कैन लुक फॉर एन एड ऑन ओवर हियर. उसके साथ अगर यहाँ पे मिनिमलिटी जनरेट होती है M1 या M2, इट डजेंट मैटर, राइट. उसके साथ यू विल बी हैविंग ए रीअलोकेशन स्ट्रक्चर. ये ट्रेड कहाँ तक होल्ड कर सकते हो आप? व्हाट इज M1? मिनिमलिटी 1. ये अगर आपका सप्लाई है एंड यू हैव a रिजेक्शन below 50% of the supply is M1, right? And in continuity, the market flows. What is M2? Same scenario, 100% आपके पास supply है, मार्केट 50% के ऊपर क्लोज किया है, उसके बाद एक रिजेक्शन लिया है 80% या 90% के रेंज विदाउट कंप्लीटिंग द 100%, राइट. दैट्स वेयर एम टू कम्स इनटू द प्ले. जैसे ही ये दो सिनेरियो बिल्ड होते हुए दिखती है मार्केट में, व्हाट इज द नेक्स्ट थिंग दैट यू विल बी फॉलोइंग? You know that market will come till 150% if M1, and M2 है तो directly 200% तक market movement देती है. So you don't have to look for a price to enter. You always have to look for a setup to enter, right? Price action point तब follow करो जब you're working on a high bid range. What is high bid range? Just for an example, जब मार्केट वॉलेटाइल रहता है तब प्राइस एक्शन फॉलो करना होता है विद प्राइस मैनिपुलेशन. जस्ट फॉर एन एग्जांपल, समझो मार्केट एक रेंज ऑफ पीओआई में है. ओके, सो यू नो दैट दिस इज ए 60 pip range. And what is a POI allocation perspective? Whichever side the market gives the break, the opposite side is the directional movement that you hold, right? In this perspective, when the market is volatile, you look for an allocation at the point of the break and at the entry point of S2B1 setup. So with this setup only, you will be able to gauge the right directional movement in the right side. Okay, so always remember, price action should be looked with the prices only when the market is volatile with a single candle above 100 pips, not prior to that. उससे पहले you can follow a nice and easy setup range of actions and hold the trade till the targets. Good morning, Nilesh. How are you? Same example, right? So, what do you notice over here? Why was the movement till here? Why didn't it take the rejection from this point? Why didn't it take the rejection from this point? Why exactly this point? Let's do the simple allocation perspective, right? So, where is my supply? So, this is my last supply, okay? So, I will take my last supply, allocate it with the structure of the wick rejection with a S to B1. What do you notice over here? You notice a minimality M1 created. Once the minimality M1 is created, definitely you know till where the target is 150%, right? What did market tend to do at this point? Where did it took the rejection from? Right? 150%. So always remember once a setup is built, right? That's when you will be able to understand how exactly in which direction the market will move. Okay. So these are the small setups which you will be following to understand and allocate it in the right structure. Sir, can you explain 3:45 p.m. UTC on 13th June p.m. 3:45. यही है ना? Simple. What is your first allocation? This is your first allocation, right? Where will you keep the point? Will this be your contact list or this will be your contact list, right? So first, always with the body. What is the second scenario? We have a break of structure and continue, then we'll take it with the wick, correct? So in this scenario, what do we notice? Allocation will be with the wick. So in this perspective, what is the one thing that you will be looking at this point? What did market tend to do? Market created a structure of, because it's in 15 minutes, more than three candles is a POI range. POI range कहाँ से देखोगे? In perspective of previous. So this is my previous POI range. I will just remark the structure over here. Is it in my same POI box? So, right? When it's in the same POI range, what is the next step of action plan that you will be looking? Market give a break towards down, right? With the break towards the down, market tend to made everyone sit because हर एक लोग यहाँ पे रिट्रेसमेंट के साथ नीचे के लिए देख रहे होंगे, right? जितने भी लोग नीचे के लिए देखे, मार्केट यहाँ पे इमीडिएटली नेक्स्ट कैंडल में सबको निकाला बाहर. Where will your entry be? S to B1 के साथ. Your entry will be over here in this candle or in this candle with the confirmation. What did market tend to do? Market continued in the same patternal way towards the long, right? So you have to always follow a structure where there is a setup and then only execute the trades. Without looking into the structures, and if you're just randomly executing the trades, then definitely you will be able to give the SLs and not be in the direction. यहाँ पे एसएल कहाँ पे गया आपका वो बताओ. आपका एंट्री यहाँ पे होगा तो it's clearly said, right? When there is a POI, first identify the previous POI and allocate the POI through the previous and check whether it's in the same range. If it's in the same range, what is the first thing that you will be doing? You will wait for a break. जिस तरफ का भी पीओए ब्रेक होता है, अगर ये मार्केट यहाँ पे नीचे ब्रेक हुआ तो डायरेक्शन इज लॉन्ग ओनली, अगर ये, जस्ट इमेजिन दैट पीओए से मार्केट लॉन्ग के लिए ब्रेक होता, तो ट्रेड कुड हैव बीन टुवर्ड्स द शॉर्ट, right? Train your eyes. Definitely, you guys will be able to gauge and identify these things, right? Simple. What is market currently doing in this point, right? 100 plus pips running में है. Why was the trade towards the short? Because liquidity नहीं ले आया, correct? Because gap up opening है. उसके साथ मेरे पास क्या है? POI है previous का. So where is my previous POI in the range? This is my previous POI in the range, correct? So when this is my previous POI, can I map it and check which side the market is giving a break, because it's more than three candles, right? So market gave a break towards the long, so we are in a trade towards the short. Okay. डेफिनेटली अगर आप यहाँ पे एंट्री नहीं हुए होते तो आप यहाँ पे एंट्री हुए, उसके साथ भी your current trade could be running within a perspective of nice 70 pips. Okay, Usma. The stream will be there for next 40 minutes. Whatever doubts you guys are having, please do ask. Nilesh, how is your analysis going on? Doing good, sir. There is a instance where previous supply gets completed 100%, but demand doesn't get completed 100%, but later new supply gets completed 100%. How to allow, how to do allocation in such cases? Can you give me an example in UTC so that I can explain it to you how and where you had been wrong and how you can improve out on that structures? Date and time बता दो काफी है. Get tips running. Get. Naveen, hope your doubt of M1 and M2 is cleared. If anyone is noticing, there is one setup created over here. If anyone can say me what setup is this? Thank you, sir. You're welcome, Asma. Perfect. And Nilesh, please let me know the UTC time and date of your previous questions so that I can explain it to you. Three-wing setup create हुआ है तो what is the next thing that you will be following? Will you directly enter over here? No. Great. Wait for the supply completion. Good to see. The best formation could be with a three-wing, a green candle closure. Lot of improvements, guys. Keep it up. Actually, I have given my laptop for repair and I have noted my things in that. Will ask as it's repaired. Okay, where you might be going wrong for your question, I'll just give you a short example. Just for an example, see, this might be your supply. Okay, so with the supply, what you could have done, you're in 15 minutes, market is moving in a structure. Okay, यहाँ पे 100% complete हुआ and you draw a demand of immediate big red candle. That is wrong, right? In example, in this scenario, if I take this demand, rather taking this demand or this demand, definitely my 100% will be not incompleted, right? So what I'll be doing first, I will check with my first nearest demand point. So this is my first nearest demand point, allotted it, break of 100%, then I will allocate a structure 150%, right? So that should be the scenario of looking into the structures. right? If you directly look in perspective of this or this demand, definitely it will not complete your 100%, right? Always make sure that you follow the first demand or the supply when you are looking for a retracement. Am I wrong? Am I looking for supply or demand in higher time frame? If you're looking for a supply and demand in higher time frame, then your trade should be in perspective of higher time frame, right? So if you're looking in 4 hours, definitely your way of looking into the charts is that you're holding the trade for more than 3 4 days. So that is the way of looking into it. If you're looking in perspective of 1 hour, you're looking in perspective of the big rejection points, right? So whenever you're looking for a demand or supply allocation of 1 hour, just cross verify with the 15 minutes. Definitely in the scenario cases like in 1 hour, right? For an example perspective, let me take a rejection perspective of this. Okay. So what will I be knowing if I want to take this demand allocation? My first demand allocation will be this, correct? So, first, do we have a break of structure? No, we don't have a break of structure. So, we allocate with this point, right? So, when you're looking in perspective of direct rejection of this one, then you will definitely go wrong. You noticing, right? So, always remember you took a marking of this, right? And you took a marking with this point also because it's a wick candle and you doubled it. 150% will be a rejection point. With this scenario, let's come down to 15 minutes and see how does this marking help you out in understanding exactly in 15 minutes, right? So this was the allocation which you did. In this allocation perspective, what do you notice? There was a rejection from 100% itself with a wick creation, right? So in this perspective, what will be your first structure of allocation? Because the movement was in a bearish terms, from the bearish terms market converted the structure. With conversion of the structure you got a supply in the play. When you got a supply in the play, what will be your allocation? This will be your last demand converted into supply, right? So this was your last demand retracement which will act as your current supply, right? Do we have a breakout structure? No. So do we take with the wick? No. We take it from the body. What do you notice? With the 100%, market took a rejection and continued the way. So always, if you're looking for a retracement in 1 hour, make sure you confine it with the 15 minutes allocation. Tab jaake you will have a mixture of a right execution point. Okay. Beautiful guys. Almost there. Okay, Nilesh. Stream will be there for next 25 minutes. Whatever doubts you guys are having, please do ask. We have a minimality as well in the trade, right? Not yet. Yeah, but we do. ये वाला बात कर रहे हो? Not convincing. What I have noticed in this case of a higher time frame, there are instances where if minimality is formed, then also it won't complete 150 or 200 and will simply reverse from 100%. How to analyze that? See, just for an example, let's go and check one of the things. You give a random date, let's do it on that. If I go like this, मेरे आँख को गिर जाएगा. Give me one random date. It's completing exactly at 200% and rejecting. But then there was a break of structure, so I will move it down. 100% rejection. I will allocate the structure. We have a minimality M1 created. With minimality M1, 150% rejection. 9th June, it's lined up. Okay, just a second. 9th June. Okay, let's do the analytical way. This was my first supply. Allocation of structure change. Supply converted into demand. So this is my demand. 0.1. 100% rejection. With this, I'll just reconfirm. It was just 100% rejection. Supply map. Market didn't complete the 100% structure. It took a break. Minimality M3 got created. Right? Because it gave a break below this. And with that, there was a S2B1 setup created. With the S2B1 setup, what is the first point of action that we'll be looking? The first target will be till the supply of M3, right? Exactly took the rejection, right? With the rejection completion, what is the next step that we'll be following? The new supply will be your TP1. Example wise, go to the chapter M3, minimality M3. So post completion of the first supply, the next target will be the same range of action plan, right? With this action plan, what do we notice? There was a M1 created, correct? With the minimality M1 creation, what is the next direct structure that we'll be having? 150%, right? With the 150%, do we have a rejection, right? With the rejection perspective, 200%, right? One, 200% retracement point, right? In this structure, what will you be doing? The biggest mistake, allocating this demand. This was a news scandal. Never take news scandal, right? So without that, what will be your action plan of 150? The first retracement is this scenario one. This is your scenario two. Let's allocate the structure because we have an indecisive candle. We take it from the wick, 150% rejection. Same scenario with the wick. Second scenario is 100% rejection, right? So with this point of interest, there is a break of 200%. जहाँ पे break 200% की generate होते हुए दिखी है, what is the plan of action that we will be doing? We will be drawing a surplus. How are the surplus looked into the perspectives? जहाँ से M3 got completed. M3 completion, structure build के बाद retracement. This is the point of action where I'll be taking, right? So this is my first action plan, which I'll be drawing for my surplus, right? First, with the body, because we don't have a structure, 100% rejection. With the 100% rejection, M2 got created. With the M2 creation, direct target is 150 and 200%. Because there is a structure change over here, I will be directly moving it to the wick. With the wick allocation, this is my allocating point. What do you notice? It works exactly, no? And if you ask me, demand is working exactly as per the previous. This is the first allocation point. Drawn, 100% rejection. With the 100% rejection, what is the next thing that I'll be working? First point of action. With the first point of action, second, 100% rejection. Retracement kitna hoga? Because there is a structure change. This is my previous demand, which will act as my current supply. 100%. Why it was M3 and not BOS? हमारे इसमें break of structure है ही नहीं ना. Okay, let's go as per you. What is the major thing if you want to look for a break of structure? Let's come to this point, right? Do we notice book में एक chapter है, right? Called as intact zones. 1 point, 2 point, 3 point. Without completion of this liquidities, how will the market will reverse? And if you notice, each and every time, where did the market reverse from, Nitesh? Right? From an intact zone. Point one, right? Second point of action was taken under the consideration of this. Third point of action was taken under the consideration of the same and continued. And if you notice, again, where did the market try to reverse out from? इधर तक आने के बाद मीटिंग कैंडल यहाँ तक ही क्यों आया? Because this was the intact zone again. From the same intact zone, the continuity, right? At this current scenario, Friday के दिन में we had two zone of action plans which was evaded, right? So in this scenario, we have a intact zone level over here. If the market wants to continue on the top, definitely अगर setup यहाँ पे build नहीं होती है, so it will take out this liquidity and then with here S2B1 will get created and continue the movement. But to reach this point, it has to cross all our circumstantial lookouts. एंड ब्रेक ऑफ स्ट्रक्चर के लिए हमेशा याद रखो, अगर एक स्ट्रक्चर ऊपर जा रही है and immediately you see a break, right? That will not be a proper break of structure, right? अगर यहाँ पे break हुआ है, there should be a strong green candle covering up. Then from the nearest intact point, the market will reverse. That is the proper break of structure. Okay. Always look in perspective of to the previous, not to the current. What a rejection. Hope you got the point, Nilesh. Stream will be there for next 10 minutes. Whatever doubts you guys are having, please do ask. Same scenario, right? Now everyone will be looking for a break of structure trade from this point. But is it a proper break of structure? No. Always notice, आज के दिन में ही gap up open हुआ, market gave a break of structure, right? Setup के साथ सबको short के तरफ भी बिठाया. But what did the market tend to do? Immediately a strong green candle was created till the intact zone. From there, the reversal took the place. Got it, sir. Suppose if the previous demand is small and gets completed, then we double it. It also got completed, then the price continues to the more than. Yes. In this case, do we look for the previous bigger demand or do we consider the current complete demand and double it? Always remember, right? If there is a structure of 100% completion, the market completed 200% of the current demand, right? If there is no retracement in the current place, just for an example, ये demand जो है, अगर without retracement यहाँ पे continue होता है, this is just a circumstantial way of looking into it. Okay, कंटिन्यूटी में मार्केट मूवमेंट देती है. अगर इस पॉइंट ऑफ एक्शन में आपके पास एक रिट्रेसमेंट डेवलप नहीं होती है, then you will look for the previous. Which one is the previous? This one. अगर यहाँ पे रिट्रेसमेंट जनरेट होती है and then it continues and breaks 200%, then remember the surplus will be taken from this point till the retracement point. and then you allocate the same over here for the targets. Okay. Follow chapter S2B1 for that. GMR. In the supply, small demand needs to be ignored. How to find the perfect supply? No, we don't ignore any movement, right? Just for an example, if you're saying me that I ignored this movement by drawing this supply, I didn't, right? Because there was a setup, there was a POI range. With the POI range, always you have to look for a same strategical move. एग्जाम्पल मान के चलो यहाँ पे एक छोटा सा सप्लाई बिल्ड हुआ है इन द मोमेंट ऑफ डिमांड, ठीक है? सो example wise, you were not there in front of the system and you check this supply from the previous small supply, okay? But when you came, it has already given the break, right? So in that perspective, what will you do? You will look for the nearest, right? कहाँ तक movement आएगा? But each and every time the setup is followed with the previous allocation at the first, right? So in this scenario, if I want to look continuity because we had a structure, so this will be my first demand, right? So in this perspective, if I take an allocation of this point to this point, what do I notice? There is a break in continuity. When there is a break in continuity, I will look for 150%, right? And I see that from 150% there is a rejection. But to continue the movement, do we have a setup? No, because if you notice, it's in one of the POI. So POI is always marked in perspective of previous, correct? So this is my previous POI, which I will take in the action plan, right? What do we notice over here? Which side was the POI break? POI break was towards the short. What will you do in this point? Right? 150% से rejection लेके ऊपर गया. In this perspective, the first allocation will be this one only because you don't have to take this moment. So this is your entire first demand, what you will be looking for in the structure. With the structure, what is the occasions? The point with the body, break and continue, 150% and 200% because we'll be moving this on the structure change. We got a structure change. I'll move it with the wick. What do you notice? 200%. POI break was towards the short. Definitely the movement will be towards the long. That should be your way of looking into the markets. Okay. And Naveen, the entire book is one concept, so don't get confused. Okay, so in cases of surplus, we considered the supply till the retracement and not till the 150% or 200%. Can you please give an example of surplus? यहाँ पे surplus movement कहाँ पे था? 1 hour में था ना? Right? In this perspective, what did we do? We looked for a surplus in perspective of the entire movement. Why? Because if I take the mapping, where is the mapping from this structure? Right? When we allocate, what is the first structure we have allocated? The nearest rejection point, right? So अगर आपके पास 150% या 200% के पास rejection है ही नहीं, then how will you look for a supply or a demand, right? You need to have a rejection, right? Then only you can map a supply or a demand. So always remember there should be a mapping always. Without the mapping, no. Demand need to allocate with supply or demand to demand. When there is a structure change, then you will look for previous supply which will get converted into demand. In the directional movements, your previous demand will be your current new demand. Okay. In this scenario, what I'll be doing, this is in the direction, right? So this will be my first demand, which will act as the continuity demand. Because this is a wick creation over here, I'll take it from here and map it 150% rejection, right? But in this scenario, when there is a structure change, right? If you notice, there is a supply movement. With the supply movement, immediately have got one green candle, right? This green candle. Why I will take from this point, why this red will get convert, this demand will get converted into the supply, because there was a structure change. So I will map from demand converted into supply. Demand converted into supply or supply converted into demand is looked only in perspective when there is a structure change in the movement, not prior to that, not in the directions. Okay. Keep learning and keep growing. Always remember, one good trade is a trade that is taken by you with your analysis, with your mindset, because you're deploying your own money. So always remember to protect the capital with following the right setups, with the right directional movements. Follow the TTS concept, allocate the mathematical numbers with the directional movements of supply and demand. Don't go against it. Make sure to do the back testing for 6 months, 6 months of live forward testing, 1 month of live analysis, then bring a small capital and develop that capital into the bigger one with the compounding structures. मिलते हैं अगले वीडियो में, तब तक के लिए टेक केयर, बाय बाय, नितेश साइनिंग ऑफ.